Okay, welcome. This is the brother Lamadia. Want to give all praises and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Wakar, Wadash. And I want to say Barakatham, all blessings to the sincere believers of Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua. And this video was inspired by a video I watched with the elder Apostle Hall, and he said a few things that kicked off my spirit. So let's pray. Let's play what he said and come back.
Honesty. You know, the reason why a lot of guys fall off because they don't come in um, honest. They don't come in as a new creature.
They don't come in honest. They don't come
That's
as a
why
new
I said we got
creature.
a lot of spies. You got a lot of spies and agents in these different camps of ours that are there to gather information. And there's plenty of scriptures on that. Galatians 2 come in mind, but there's plenty of scriptures on that. I'm not going to go all into that. That's a whole other subject. But when you come into this thing, you got to come in honest. Whatever you was in the past, you got to get rid of it. You can't bring that stick up kid, gangster, rip off artist, serial adulterer. You know, what do you call this? What do you call that? Damn, somebody that steals that they can't help it. What's the goddamn word? I hadn't heard. Thing. Kleptomaniac. If you was a kleptomaniac, you can't be a kleptomaniac in this truth. It says not walking in craftiness, and you got guys, Jude, the whole chapter 1.
And let's just stop it there. So now, some of the points that stood out with me that the elder Apostle Tahar had mentioned was that you got guys that come in and they don't come in, in honesty, and they don't come in humble, and they still have attachment of who they was back in the world, because that's why the scriptures speaks about being born again. Being born again is comprised of unlearning the things you learn in this world that's unacceptable to Most High, and putting that into your spiritual trash can and relearning the correct way, or installing into your hard drive the thing that is acceptable to Most High, because you can't keep the things that you picked up in the world and try to bring it over or cross it over into this truth, because it's going to stand out as a sore thumb, and you may not see it, but it's being seen, and that goes for all of us. So when you come into the truth, what happened is you have to do an assessment with yourself, because um this truth is about humbling yourself and putting yourself second before the Lord. Now, I want to go to the book of First Corinthians, chapter 11, begin at 27. And it reads, "Wherefore, whosoever should eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily shall be guilty of the body and the blood of the Lord." And that represents His word. So, because when you partake of the Passover is a serious thing, and is in symbolic and reference towards this word. So it says, "But let a man examine himself, And so let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup. So before you even drink of that, I'm sorry, before you even eat of that bread and drink of that cup and partake in that ceremony, you better examine yourself. What it means to examine yourself. You got to do assessments. You know, you got to make changes within yourself. You can't still be the person who you was in the world, because the person you was in the world was filthy. You know, that person's mind was filthy. That's why they was in the world. But when the Lord calls you into the truth, guess what? You have to go through a spiritual detox. Like when you watch the movie Training Day, Alonzo said to the rookie, you have to unlearn the things you learn in rookie training, because that stuff will get you killed out here. It's the same thing with the truth. Whatever the word taught you, you have to learn that, because that'll get you killed by the Most High, because it's contrary to what the Most High righteousness is. So verse 29, for he that eateth and drinketh unworthily eateth and drinketh damnation to himself, not discerning the Lord's body. So you gotta keep in mind what we involved with, because what we involved with is something serious. I remember years ago I heard the elder Sakaram had said it before, and I never forgot it. And he said it like this: what we involved with, we involved in um history being made, you know, because that's what it is. Like, history is being made as we go out there and teach. And he said that in the video. I'll never forget. And the elder apostle Ramlam, Elder Sakaram, was breaking down Romans 11 chapter, and it was like years ago. But he said that it still with me. And that's true. We involved in something serious, and we in a time where history is being made, and it comes down to what side you're a part of. So now let's go to Romans the 14th chapter, and you got to keep in mind, when Paul was writing these letters, he wasn't just writing these letters just to fill up um words on the page. Like, he wasn't given, of 8-page essay, and he had nothing to say, so he was just writing things like they doing in school. They give you this long ass essay, and you run out of things to say. No, everything that Paul was saying, he was saying it through the Spirit, and he was writing these letters because these certain acts was taking place in these certain churches. So he had to write these letters to uh tell them to make these assessments, to make these corrections. So starting at 1 Corinthians 14 and 30, it reads, if anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let the first hold his peace. Because that, what he's talking about is structure. Because yeah, we all teaching this word, but it gotta have structure. And that's another thing that with guys, you see a lot of guys get disenchanted, a lot of guys fall out, a lot of guys remove themselves from the camp because they come with um brothers are being too harsh to them, because they don't like structure. And anything you say to them, and it may be true, or most time it is true, they don't like it because they get emotional, because they feel that this thing we involved with is a fucking democracy. This is not a democracy. All right, the Lord. First of all, the Most High is not dealing with democracy. That's why you're going to destroy America, because what comes out of democracy is disorder and confusion and wickedness. You know why women think that they on the same status with men because of democracy. You know why sons don't dishonor you know why sons dishonor their fathers into these lives now? Because of democracy. So the Most High not dealing with democracy, he dealing with order. That's why in the Lord's Prayer it states about let the kingdom be done as it is in heaven. Because in the heavens, everything is in perfect order, or in perfect sequence. You know, because when something is not consolidated properly, guess what? It brings confusion. You don't know what nothing is at. That's why you in school, when you was in grade school, in first digit age, you learn um alphabetical order, because that's sequence. Just like you run on your computer, your phone, certain things in alphabetical order so you can properly find certain the things you're looking for. Because if everything was all over the place, it'll bring confusion. Now let's go to this. Like, keep in mind the word confusion. Now it says, if anything be revealed to another that sitteth by, let let the first hold his peace. For ye may all prophesy one by one, that all may learn and all may be comforted. Because if everybody got a revelation, everybody decides to speak at the same time, what happens? There's no um edification taking place no more, because it brings confusion. And what brings confusion is noise. Because confusion is the disruption of order. No matter where you go in this world, there's order. You go to work, you have management, supervisors, you have you know, um, human resource. There's an order to it. You may have the team leader. That's to keep order. Basketball, they got a team leader. Now, and if you're on a team, you got the team leader like LeBron. It's what 20 seconds on the clock, the fourth quarter. Now you're supposed to pass the ball to LeBron, and you decide to take the last shot. Guess what? You're gonna get you're gonna get that request to be traded off the team, because you don't know how to follow order, and then you're gonna find yourself on the free agents. Oh, guess what? You know that them nice concerts you like to go to. There's order in that too. You know, like when you hear certain musicians playing, you got the drummer comes in, and the pianist and all these different instruments start playing. There's order, because guess what? If there wasn't playing the music about order, it will sound like noise, and what that will bring is confusion. So, verse 32, it says, "And the spirits of the prophets are subject to what? The prophets." And verse 33, "For the Most High is not the author of confusion." Let me go back, matter of fact, 32. "The spirits of the prophets subject to the prophets." Now, when you subject to somebody, when you under the rule. And it was a point that Apostle Hall had made. He had made when you watch the video about the account with Saul, how Saul was numbered with the prophets, and at that time it wasn't known as a camp. We call it camp today. That's the word we give it to it. We call it camps, but back then, you know, if you was numbered with the prophets, it was seen as what we call a camp today. And Saul was numbered with the prophets. But it says, "In the spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets." So sometimes you gotta know when to keep quiet and keep your peace, because what we involved with is not fleshly, it's spiritual. It's not mechanical, it's spiritual. and something may be coming out in the spirit, and you just gotta learn where to be quiet. And when the time presents itself for you to speak, the spirit gonna be on you to speak. But you gotta know the perfect time. Verse 33, for the Most High is not the author of confusion. Again, confusion is a disruption in order. You know why these marriages don't work out? Because there's a disruption in order. And that brings what? Confusion. You know why these households is broken? Because the father not there. So guess what? There's a disruption in order. So it says, but the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all the churches of the saints. Because when you have order, you have peace. Everything plays out how it's supposed to play out. So that's why um you got to get out that mind, like the mind state of I'm doing what I want to do, and I'll do this because I don't like being told what I want to. I don't like being told what to do. That's Satan, and understand because that's what the world teach you. Because the world don't teach you to follow guidance. I'm talking about amongst the tribes. We're not taught to follow guidance. But the thing is, when we come into the truth, we have to kick that off and relearn everything that we was taught in this world. Because the things we were taught in the world is going to lead to our destruction. So it says, well, peace as in all the saints of the church. Now let's go to Romans 12. And it says, and be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect in the will of the Most High. So it says that ye may prove what is good. So what is good? Now the word good derives from the word God. So when you say a person is good, you saying that person is godly. Like when you say goodbye, what you really saying is goodbye is short to say God be with ye. So good means godly. So that ye may prove what is that good mean what is that godly and acceptable and perfect. Perfect means to be complete with the will of the Most High. Because when we go into the scriptures already give us everything we need to know about judging matters. We just have to read. That's why it says, "Blessed is he that do what? Read." Because you can't go off emotion. You can't go off anything else but what the scriptures say to do. Now let's go to First Peter's 2:18, and it says, let's start at 17. Honor all men. Now look at the word honor.
Strong's G 5091. Tamao. Tamao.
Now it reads to estimate, fix the value. So honor means to pretty much value or to show respect. Pretty much in word to show respect. So honor all men, love the brotherhood. And guess what? A lot of dissensions happen because lack of respect or a lack of spirituality or the lack of scriptures coming out. Because the more you become in tune with the scriptures, the more or the less likely bullshit is gonna happen. So it said, honor all men, love the brotherhood, fear the Most High, honor the King. And our top king right now is Yahweh Shah. But even back then, there is a book of Kings and Second Kings. We had kings. You had to respect that king. Now verse 18, servant, be subject to your masters with all fear. Now, the word master might be an ugly word for a lot of people because when they see the word master, what comes to their mind is a slave or somebody that is a sucker. Now, guess what? There's nothing wrong with being a slave because guess what? We're slaves to Yahweh Shah. That's what the scriptures reference us as being servants. But guess what? Even though we're servants to Yahweh Shah, there's still an order and a structure. Now, there's slaves that's that's over other slaves, or servants that's over other servants. You know, the Most High set up guidance. You know, ain't nobody crapping the whip on you or putting a hot iron and branding you in the back of your back or some shit like that. You know, we're servants to the Most High because or Yahweh Shem Yahushua because we teaching. You know, and the Most High set up certain men to give counsel to other men. So it says, servants, be subject to your master with all fear, not only to the good and gentle, but also to the froward. Now you're gonna have certain guys, they might be more lenient and may not say nothing, but then you have certain guys, they more straightforward and tell you straight up. But it says you gotta listen to both because whatever it is that they're saying is both being led by the Most High. It's all through the Spirit. Okay, you have to obey the message because it's not them you're obeying the message, you're obeying the guidance. Like if you're a basketball player and you have a coach, guess what? You're a servant to the coach. You can't do what you want to do. You can't get on the court and run your own plays. You're gonna run the plays that the coach wants you to run. So now I'm gonna look at the word master, right? Let's see what that's saying. This is the English definition. A man who has people working for him. And don't we work for Yahweh Shah? Yahweh Shah came in the flesh, and we work for Yahweh Shah. And then it said, especially servants or a slave, and we're servants to Yahweh Shah, right? So we obey the things the scriptures say because it came from up above. So now let's go to Psalms 8 and 2, and it says, out of the mouth of babes and suckling hast thou ordained strength because of thy enemies, that thou mightest still the enemy and the avengers. So now the Most High is dealing with the babes, and through these babes, he's confounding the wise. And what do you mean by babes? Let's talk about us, because when you come into the faith, you have to be born again and unlearn the things of the world. So you got to enter the spiritual womb. Or matter of fact, come out the spiritual womb. Because the scriptures also reference this word as being our mother. So we coming out of our mother, which is the scriptures, through the womb and being born again. So it says, out of the mouth of babes and suckling hast thou ordained strength because thy enemies, and thou mightest still the enemy and the avenger. So we put it to silence these people that is in adversity to the things we have to say. But they being confounded because what we saying is not our words, but the words of Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shah. So it's coming from up above. Anything they got to say, the spirit jumps on us to counter argue that with the scriptures. Now, First Peter's, no, I'm sorry, yes, First Peter's. Two, let me start at one. Wherefore, laying aside all malice and all guile and all hypocrisy and envies and evil speaking, as newborn babes, desiring or desire the sincere milk of the word, that ye may grow thereby. So that's talking about us. Because guess what? We all came out of the world and we picked up these bad habits that the world taught us and how to manage certain matters that's contrary to the Most High. So we have to unlearn that and start all over again as newborn babes. Now, let me see something. And I'm gonna close with this Titus 3:3. For we ourselves also was sometimes foolish, disobedient, deceived, serving diverse lusts and pleasures, living in malice and evil, hateful, and hating one another. So that's the mind frame we came out of. But when we became reborn, we detox that lifestyle from out of us. Verse 34. But after the kindness and love of the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushua appeared. So Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, the kindness of the love of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua toward man appeared, not by works of righteousness, meaning it wasn't based on how well we keep the law, which we have done, but according to his mercy, he saved us by the washing of the regeneration and renewing of the Holy Spirit. So we in this truth through the mercy that was granted upon us. And we got to keep that in mind and not forget that. And keep in mind like that the Most High don't need us. We're replaceable, and that's more and more what keep us humble. But the thing is, coming into the faith, you have to make that transition. And a lot of guys didn't like that transition. A lot of guys didn't like structure. That's why a lot of guys fell out. That's why a lot of guys end up, finding a way out they camp and try to doing their own thing. And sometimes, in most cases, you'll see they'll do their thing for a couple of months, a couple of years, and then they die out. Now if the Most High had mercy on them, you know, they will continue on by themselves. But however, they'll realize they made a big mistakes. But the decision already been made, which probably had meant that the Most High set them up just to, go out on their own to bring other fruit. But the thing is, you don't want to be the one to test out that logic. So the key thing is to remain humble. So I'm gonna close in conclusion with that. We almost out of here, and this the perfect time to make assessments that we have to correct within ourselves. Don't be the second one to see it. It's up to you to be the first one to see it and make those corrections. So with that, I'm gonna close, and again, I'm gonna give all praise and glory to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Rakak Wadash. Shalom.